Trump sent a nuclear submarine to Gibraltar and exposed to the world exactly what the Revolutionary Guard feared most. He put the crisis with Iran on a new layer of military pressure, under the sea. On Tuesday, May 12, 2026, the situation escalated after reports that Tehran had deployed small submarines to try to intimidate ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump's response came on a whole different scale. The United States displayed an Ohio-class ballistic submarine, one of the most feared weapons in the U.S. Navy. If the Revolutionary Guard wanted to take the war below the surface, Washington accepted the challenge and placed a force there that Tehran cannot confront. I'll tell you all about that in a moment, but right now you'll want to be subscribed to the channel to stay well informed. Real-time information, with the best journalistic quality ever seen, with the credibility Milson Alves is known for. The United States confirmed that a ballistic missile submarine arrived in Gibraltar on May 10, 2026. The detail that draws attention is the public exposure. This type of submarine usually operates in secrecy because its greatest strength lies precisely in the uncertainty about its location. When the American military lets a move like this be seen, it's not carelessness, it's a message. The arrival in Gibraltar was presented as a demonstration of capability, flexibility, and commitment to NATO allies. In the midst of the crisis with Iran, this sounds like a calculated warning. Trump is not just reinforcing ships on the surface, he's also putting pressure where the Revolutionary Guard tries to operate quietly. Iran had been trying to build an image of control over Hormuz. The Revolutionary Guard knows it can't match the American Navy in open combat. That's why it invests in asymmetric warfare, small boats, naval mines, drones, shore-based missiles, and smaller submarines used to confuse, delay, and intimidate. This equipment isn't meant to defeat a naval power like the United States in direct confrontation, but it can pose a threat to cargo ships, oil tankers, and escorts. Trump responded by moving the crisis beyond mere threats and bringing the pressure to the very arena where Tehran wanted to catch others off guard. Gibraltar has strategic importance because it's located at the entrance to the Mediterranean, between the Atlantic and a route that connects to the Middle East via key sea lanes. The presence of a ballistic submarine there doesn't mean an announcement of a nuclear attack. It means that Washington has decided to show reach and readiness at a time when negotiations were weak. It's both a political and military presence at the same time. For Tehran, the effect is harsh. The Revolutionary Guard tried to sell the idea that it could close, threaten, or bleed Hormuz from under the water. The United States responded with a deterrence move that doesn't need to fire to change the enemy's calculation. Trump also gathered his national security team on May 11 to discuss the next step against Iran. Among the options discussed were new military actions, pressure on Iran's nuclear program, and the resumption of Project Liberty, an operation designed to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. The meeting involved key figures from the security and defense sectors, at a time when the agreement with Tehran had lost momentum. The sequence is significant. First, reports emerge about small Iranian submarines. Then comes the confirmation of the American submarine in Gibraltar. Next, the White House discusses how to increase the pressure. The crisis stalled at the most sensitive point, enriched uranium. Trump accuses Tehran of changing its position and not providing real guarantees that it will leave the country. The Revolutionary Guard may talk about surprise, revenge, and resistance, but it knows that sending a ballistic submarine changes the tone of the conversation. It's not a common threat. It's the kind of move that reminds the Iranian regime that any mistake in Hormuz could trigger a much bigger response. The main point is that Trump didn't play the Iranian game the way the Revolutionary Guard expected. Tehran likes to operate in the gray zone, with indirect attacks, militias, threatened ships, drones, and denial of responsibility. This tactic works when the response from the other side is slow or confused. Now the White House has put a strategic asset on the table and let the world see it. The message to Iran is that there won't just be a reaction to every provocation. There will be preemptive pressure, visible military presence, and preparation to prevent Tehran from turning the sea into a trap. The move also sends a message to Russia and China. Moscow watches any crisis that wears down the United States. By exposing an Ohio-class submarine in a sensitive area, Trump shows that the American Navy is still capable of acting on multiple fronts without asking permission from its adversaries. This matters because Iran does not move alone on the board. It seeks political, economic, and military support from powers that rival Washington. The use of submarines as a strategic message is nothing new. In 2022, during a period of international tension, the United States Central Command released information about a rare visit to the ballistic submarine USS West Virginia in the Arabian Sea. The appearance served as a reminder that American strength does not rely solely on visible bases, aircraft carriers, or fighter jets. The most dangerous part may be submerged, silent, and ready. In 2023, the Navy also announced the presence of the USS Florida in the Middle East, a guided missile submarine used to reinforce maritime security. These precedents help explain Gibraltar now. When Washington lets a submarine appear, the goal is to prevent the adversary from mistaking silence for weakness. The difference in 2026 is the context. Now attention is directly on Iran. Nuclear negotiations between frankness and reports of small Iranian submarines trying to increase the risk at sea. The Revolutionary Guard has always tried to compensate for its inferiority with surprise and proximity. Small submarines can operate in shallow waters, approach sensitive routes, and create concern among commercial crews. But they don't change the strategic balance. Against the Ohio class, the comparison is brutal. The Iranian model, mentioned in military movements, is considered a small, operational coastal submarine powered by diesel and electricity. Designed for shallow waters, short patrols, stealthy approach, and local threat against vessels in a narrow passage. It is used for ambush, regional pressure, and asymmetric warfare. The American submarine displayed in Gibraltar is from the Ohio class, a strategic nuclear platform designed to operate far from the coast. To remain submerged for long periods and serve as part of the United States' nuclear triad. In simple terms, Tehran would have deployed a tool of regional disruption at sea. Trump responded with a strategic command platform, oceanic reach, and nuclear weight. Other nations use this same logic of deterrence. The United Kingdom maintains nuclear submarines as a final guarantee of defense, precisely because they can operate undetected. France also protects its sovereignty with strategic submarine force, and Russia uses submarines as a sign of power during moments of confrontation with the West. China invests heavily in this sector to try to expand its presence in the Indo-Pacific. In all these cases, the submarine is more than a weapon, it is a message. And it was exactly there where Iran wanted to act in secret that Trump brought in the force that everyone in the Revolutionary Guard feared would show up. I'm Milson Alves, an international affairs specialist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed with the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and at the end, check out the comments so you can be even more engaged with the community. Milson Alves.